Hello, welcome to my listing. Today we have up for bids are a pair of U.S. Army Signal Corps field telephones model 312 PT. These phones appear to be in unissued condition. I purchased these at an estate sale from a veteran's family. It appears that he had gotten a hold of these phones and never used them. They work perfectly, and I'll be demonstrating on their operation in the video. Included with the phones, you'll receive a complete operations and use manual. The manual is very basic in the phone's operations, shows you how to operate the phones. The phones can be connected to a hardwired system for up to 22 miles apart from each other. The phones in an emergency can also operate without batteries for up to 4 miles using the receiver element as a talk and listen device. You'll also receive, with the winning bid, 100 feet of telephone wire. This will hook up to the two phones so that you can communicate to each other for up to 100 feet with the included wire. Depending upon the thickness of the wire, meaning that the thicker the wire, the longer the range between the two phones. The maximum range is approximately 22 miles with the heavier wire, and also up to 4 miles without batteries in an emergency use. The phones can work with each other. You'll also receive 4 brand new batteries. These are standard flashlight D cells. They can be used, purchased anywhere, and used in the phones. The phones, again, like I say, when they were received in a crate, I opened up the box and noticed that the brand new phones were in here, unissued. Everything, in fact, the phones smell. They have that new smell. I don't know if it's the phone or the bag, but it smells like a brand new unissued phone. Type of situation is new everywhere. If you look into the battery compartments, they've never been used from what I can see. They are very clear, no corrosion. I don't think a battery has ever been put in the phone. In fact, I tested them. They work perfectly, and the next time I put batteries in there for this test, it'll be like the second time that they've been connected. I'll show you how these operate in a moment. They put batteries in here and connect the wire, and I'll be right back. When placing the battery in the phone, it's very easy. One battery goes up, the positive terminal up, and the other battery is the negative side is up, and very simply you closing the lid on these, and there's a lock that locks it down in place. And the same thing with the other phone. One battery positive up, one negative up. It doesn't matter which side, as long as one is positive is up and one negative is up when you're putting the batteries in the phone. Okay, now the other thing about the phones, I noticed that they were manufactured. They have a serial number on there. It looks like they were built by Kellogg Switchboard. I guess they're a very famous company for making this military gear. Both of them have that manufacturer serial number on there. Also, you'll see some switches on the phone. Again, you want to make sure that the internal switch is set to internal. The internal is for inside the phone itself. It tells it what it should do, if it should be connected to this device here for external connection to a, I think it's a touch tone pad or a radio, some other accessory. That's when you turn it to external. But when our use here for phone to phone, you want to have it set to internal. And the next thing, I'm going to put the receivers of the phones into their cradle. And that is so that the phones can be set up to receive a call. Hooking up the wire is very easy too. The wire has two leads on each end, and one end will be what I call the red-green, and one is the yellow and white side. And you just connect one red and green to the bottom terminal of each phone, which is shown here. That is where you make your wire connection, and I'll be doing that just now. It's pretty easy to put this in here. Like I said, the red wire is going to be in the lower position and the yellow-white in the upper position, and you just push the little button down. It locks the wire in place there. Okay, another thing I discovered when I was ringing the phones, you have a volume control. I guess this would be used if you want the phones to not ring as loud. You can adjust the volume when you ring up the other phone. I usually put them in the maximum loud position so that you can hear the other phone when it's being rung in a noisy type of environment. To ring up the other phone, the other party is waiting for a call, and when they receive the call, they're going to hear this kind of sound on their phone. And what that is a little clacker that's inside here, and that lets the other party know that someone is trying to reach them. And it would be the same thing for them if they're trying to call you. They would crank up their generator on their side and ring up the other phone. That's pretty nice, because these phones can operate in a hardened condition. What I mean by a hardened condition is that an event such as an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, or an HEMP, a high altitude nuclear device, setting off a, God forbid, electromagnetic pulse, shutting down all cellular communications and anything that runs on electricity, these phones would continue to operate because they are Faraday cage protected. Faraday cage is a type of device that protects the electrical insides of the phone. They are created for the U.S. government to withstand a pulse like that from an atomic blast. They were designed for during the Korean and Vietnam War era. So these phones are really built heavy duty and can handle that kind of event. Okay, now to test the phone, to make sure it's operational, you would do something called a side tone test. And what I mean by that is that when you talk into the phone, you should hear your own voice in the receiver. So when I do this, side tone test, test 1, 2, 1, 2, you should be able to hear yourself in the receiver, and that is definitely working correctly. And the same thing, you do a side tone test here, test, 1, 2, 1, 2, test, side tone test. And making sure that both of these switches are in LB mode. And LB mode means local battery. That means the phones are using their own onboard battery to transmit and receive. The other positions I don't use, but they would be for, I believe, a switchboard or what they call common battery. They would have an Army switchboard providing power to the phone. To operate the telephones, they're called push-to-talk phones. What I mean by push-to-talk is when you want to transmit your voice to the receiving end, the other telephone, you push this button. And when you talk to that person, they're going to receive your voice, and they're not pushing their button, but they're listening in. And when they want to talk back to you, they will also push their button, and you will be listening in to what they're saying to you. And this is how they work. They are a single operation. They're not dual duplex phones. They're single plex phones. The set of phones also comes with the canvas bags. I believe these are brand new. They've never been used. Looks like they've seen no wear because they were sealed in the box with the phones. Again, they are brand new, unissued telephones. And again, here's the other bag. They're working perfect. So that's it. Basically wrapping up on the operations of these phones. I wish you luck in bidding, and I hope you get them. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.